Welcome back to another Tekdep repair video. In today's edition, we'll be working on the Surface Pro 7. This unit was mailed out to us for repair. The client claims that there's actually no physical or liquid damage for this device, so we're gonna try to tear it down, go through a step-by-step tutorial on how to repair it. So first thing you want to do is preheat the mat. Since those screens are very thin, you want to be careful in this section here, which sits the Wi-Fi flex cable. So this is the fragile area you need to be focused on. So it's best to put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol around the edge. It's best to flip it and leave it standing for a cool 10 minutes. Do not let it overheat, because it might damage certain components, so you want to make sure it's adequate temperature. Okay, so after it's warmed up, we're gonna start by extracting the screen. I highly recommend using a curved screen tool disassembler. And by the way, guys, if you're looking for any parts or tools, check out the links below. If you saw any parts that you need, we also have a website at tekdep.com. We do offer mail-in repair and advanced data recovery service, so please check us out. So you want to go slowly. We already tried to charge it. It does show indication that it's charging, but for the reason it doesn't turn on. So we may suspect that this unit has been completely discharged, and this is actually a tip for everyone who works in the tablet or laptop repair services. Always recommend your client to never leave a unit to be completely discharged, otherwise it would damage the battery. The same concept for cars, so it could be also indication of charging port issues. But for this unit, since it's taken a little bit of amp but it's not powered on, it just may be a battery or screen. So this is very delicate, so take your time with it. So there are two things to be concerned about. There are two connections for the LCD. You need to make sure you disconnect them first, but before you do so, you want to disconnect the battery. Okay, so the screen will lift on. We're gonna first try to disconnect the battery, connect a new battery, and reconnect the screen to see if it turns on. Okay, so you do not need to remove the battery to test first. Okay, so once it's reconnected with the new battery, let's see if it turns on. So doesn't seem there is any signal to it. Okay, so then we're gonna try to install a new screen and see how it behaves. Okay, so next we're gonna install the new screen. Okay, so it's turning on. So it does appear that this unit needs to have a screen replacement as well as a battery change. So yeah, that just should tell you whenever a customer shows up with a tablet where somehow it shows indication that I haven't used it for a while, it could either mean charging port, screen, or battery. Otherwise, if all those variations are excluded, it would mean that it's probably the motherboard has been shorted out. Okay, good. So now we want to make sure we're going to turn off the device and start with the extraction of the battery to replace it. Okay, we're going to turn off the tablet. First, you want to make sure you disconnect the battery. You don't have to take it all the way down, just disconnect the digitizer and the LCD connection. Okay. Now we're going to start with the extraction process of the battery. So for this, you're going to preheat the mat at a temperature reaching like around 60 to 50 degrees and apply a little bit of isopropyl alcohol beneath the battery. Let it sit for a cold 10 minutes. Okay, once it reaches sufficient temperature, you want to start by like going from this side, and be careful, there are magnets, so I highly recommend to use a concave pry tool to make sure you don't puncture the battery. Okay, so once it's sufficiently lifted, you can start using your hands. So there's actually some stripe adhesive beneath it. It's not really as resistant. You just want to exercise caution. It's a 4-cell battery, so you want to go step by step. So you want to be mindful of this flex cable. And there you have it. So this is the battery that needs to be replaced. If you do it the right way, the adhesive will still be easy to reapply without adding extra adhesive. I'm just gonna position it for now. Do not connect it as of yet. Make sure that this hole is aligned. Okay, so once this process is done, now we're gonna move on to remove the adhesive so we can install the new screen. Lastly, we're gonna use a brush to make sure it's super polished. So before we proceed, we're gonna reconnect the battery. You can always connect it after installing, but I would recommend for more precision to just connect it, but make sure you don't push the power button on. Those remote cables, they're slightly flexible. You don't want to put too much tension on them. Good. Make sure also the heatsink is flat. If it's giving you a little bit of issue, just curve it from here and apply pressure to make sure it stays flat, because like if it's not completely flat, it will push the screen up. Perfect. Now we're gonna start by removing the adhesive. Also make sure that there is no dust in the front camera. We'll start by reapplying the connections. This is the key moment. You want to make sure. Oh, oops, we forgot to remove that sack. And sink got curved a bit. Okay. Make sure the connections are firmly in position. We're gonna make a final test to make sure that everything works before we fully close it. Okay, digitizer works. Yeah, so yeah, make sure like all corner works. Okay, so those are the most important part. Perfect. Okay, so now we're ready to close it fully. Push it downward. Make sure like the screen is under the frame. Okay. Let's take a look. It has to be perfectly flat. Okay. Good, very good. So go with your thumb and make sure it's not going overboard. Okay, so lastly, I highly recommend you use clamps to make sure the glue fully cures, and I would leave it for a good 2 hours at the very least, because this is a very type of unique adhesive. So the more reinforced it is, the better it is for the long-term effect. You leave it cure for 4 hours, and that is a success. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you so much for your patience. This was a very long video. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you have any question, leave them in the comment below, and with the help with the community, we will make sure to assist you. Again, if you saw any parts or tools you need from this video, check us out at tekdep.com, or please visit the link below for mail-in repair or advanced data recovery service. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.